All right. Good morning once again. I hope you enjoyed your week and then you are ready to go on with the training today. I see a number of people online. You are welcome to our series on leadership. And then we also have a few people in the house. Just like I mentioned, some people will be joining us in a later hour or later minutes. So we're just going to keep recapping as they come in. Um, so yes, you're going to look direct into what you're going to have today. I'm just going to give a picture of what you're going to have, and then we go directly into what we had last week. I hope we have some people who attended last week and would be happy to share with us their experience of the training last week, what they learned, what if they've shared this already with other people or practically they have started doing it, etc, etc. And then also share with us the key points or the key areas they picked interest in, and they are hoping they'll be helping them in their journey to leadership. Okay, so before I get into that, I just want to find out how people online are doing. People online, how is it? How is everything? How is everyone? How are you there? Just unmute and say hello. Hello. Oh, Derek says he is fine. Jenny says good morning. Okay, I trust everyone is fine, really. I just wanted to find out that everyone is okay so we can get set. I hope you can hear me clearly. Please, if you cannot, or if I'm very fast, sometimes I tend to be extremely fast when I'm speaking. So in case I'm very fast and you need me probably to go slow, you can unmute and let me know, or you can raise your hand. I will identify you, and then you let me know. And then if I'm also very slow, please let me know. I wouldn't want to bore you people. If the session is boring, let me know also, because we can find icebreakers, can find ways in which you can make it really interesting. Actually, I want this session to be extremely interesting, because if it is not, then people may not pick up the key points that are very crucial, or what we want people to learn from today. So yes, just like I mentioned, we are going to briefly have a recap of what we had like last week. I just want to make sure that people understood what we had last week. And yes, if you have something that you missed out and you need I to take you through it again, I am happy to do that. Please feel free. What you want is, after this series, you're able to understand the concept of or on leadership. Okay, so don't shy away. We are here to support each other. We are here as a team. Okay, so yes, a recap on leadership. Oh, before I get to that, I'm going to turn on my video very shortly or very briefly, and then I'll turn it off. This is just so new people can attach the sound to the face, the voice to the face, and then after that I'm going to turn it off. So yes, this is Cecilia Alupo, your trainer today, and I'll be joining by Joel. I know he's over there. Later on, he will also be taking on with training on his end, still on the same aspect of leadership. On the support team is Derek today. Yes, it's amazing to have you, Derek. He'll also be supporting here and there. If you have issues with your microphone, if you have issues with the network, he can advise on how best you can go through or over it. Okay, so yes, that is the face of Cecilia Alupo. I wanted to give a brief background of who I am and my leadership trail or my leadership journey. But I think instead of coming into that as an individual aspect, I'll just be picking, or within the sessions, I'll be sharing about me. So it is going to be concurrent. Yeah. Here we are having the training itself, and then here I share my experience. So through all this journey, you'll be able to know who I am, as you also get to understand what the concept of leadership, particularly on leadership styles, that I'm going to present on today. Okay. So yes, that is me. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my video and then we get direct into our recap. Okay, so who can give us a picture of what we had last week? I wouldn't mind if you don't like mention the same ones that we had in the presentation on the slides, because I wouldn't recommend cramming, but what I want is for you to demonstrate of an understanding of what leadership is, who a leader is, who a manager is, or what you picked from the session. Okay, so I'll start with someone online. Is anyone happy to volunteer? Just give us a picture of what they picked from the previous session. Okay, Joel, are you able to share something, or you'll come in later? Okay, Joel, let us know anytime when you're ready to come and say hello. We are grateful to have you online. Okay. Yeah, I would like someone to say something about the session we had last week, really, before I go in detail through it. Who can share briefly? Okay, it seems like people are not in position to share now. That is fine. So I'll briefly go through the slides here, very briefly, actually not each and every slide, just slides that I'm going to pick key information, share it, and then we go on. So yes. Okay, thank you, Joel. Thank you. Leadership. Okay. Let me start with the first slide here.
Hey, sorry. I don't know if it's only me, but I can't really hear you well, Sisa.
Okay, I get that. Could be. Let me.
Hello? Celia, can you hear us? Anyways, I think Cecilia's network is not very good. Derek, you can move to the next slide. And if she comes back, she'll pick up from there. You can move to the next slide and I can continue until she's back.
Good morning,
Can you
team.
take more?
Derek,
Can you take
if you
moderation?
don't have access to the presenter view, I can take over the view, then I move for you to the next slide. Is that okay?
Sissy, I think you can continue. It must be my internet or something, but I couldn't really hear you. but you can continue.
Good morning, team. Good everyone. Sorry for the interference. I know we are having challenges with the internet issues here and there, but we are trying to fix them up. So on track, don't lose track. We'll be back online and we will continue with our training. So let's keep calm and we hold on as we work it out from this side. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, I think I am here. I'm just going to continue. So I think we were doing a recap of what we learned last week. Last week we introduced leadership, and it was really a great session. And we defined leadership as a process of directing and influencing other people or individuals to accomplish a goal. So if you have the ability to convince other people to follow you, and together you achieve something, to us that is leadership. It has to be something good for the community, not just something for yourself. So, and we said there are three components in leadership. We have the leader, as you can see on this side, but we also have the followers, and then we have the situation that both the leader and the followers have to work on. So these are the three key things, and they are very interconnected. Without the followers, the leader is nothing, right? There is a saying that followers make leaders great. I think that's very true. Yeah. So just very quickly, so you begin by identifying an issue, and then you mobilize resources. I mean, finances, people, ideas, and you get the necessary support. And then you start brainstorming solutions and then action. And we also went as far as defining management and how that differs from leadership. We said managers are right doers. They do it as they've been told. So in other words, managers are robots. Yeah. So, and then we say they are builders, and they are representatives of a team. They represent a team. They don't really count themselves as part of the team, but they're leaders of the team, right? And they follow order, organization, and control. If the rule says 8 o'clock work begins, 5 o'clock work stops, that is what the manager is going to enforce in an organization. And they cope with situations. They do not do much innovation. And now let's see the differences between a manager and a leader. Just briefly, do the right thing. Leaders do the right thing, but managers do things right. This is really interesting. Do you get the differences? Managers do things right as they've been told. This is the right thing, so you need to do it the way you've been told. They don't question. But on the other hand, leaders will innovate ways, better ways of doing it, and they are not afraid of failing. They can take risks. They try different options. Yeah. So that's just the one distinction that stands out. The rest you can study for yourself. And we've sent you these PowerPoints. You can refer to them anytime. So are leaders born or acquired? And we said the answer is both. But to a greater extent, leaders are made. Because much as we have our natural talents. We have our natural talents with which we are born. We still need to improve. We still need to sharpen our shows until we are perfect. So to a greater extent, leaders are made. All of us have talents, but if we don't put the talents into use, then we don't become leaders, right? So let me go to the next. We are almost done with this. Qualities of a good leader. Leaders are change agents. They are always on the look for better ways of making life easier. Brenda, do you have something? Your microphone was popping up. Okay, no worries. They take risks. They are future oriented. They are visionary. In other words, they don't just look at now. They are not short sighted. They look at tomorrow, even 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, and they prepare for the future. They don't believe in luck, by the way. They believe in preparation and they believe in hard work. Those are leaders. They empower their followers to also become leaders in the future, right? So they recruit followers, they recruit people who are like-minded to work with them towards a common goal. They lead by doing. What they speak is also reflected in their personal life, and okay, they recognize contributions. I mean, if somebody does an exceptional thing, then they say, "Wow, well done! This is amazing." They celebrate accomplishments. They celebrate people who do exceptional things. Those are leaders. Those are just a few ones. Now in Kectil, we also have what we call the Kectil 10 points of leadership, which is mission, passion, ethics, equality and respect, good governance and management, vision, compassion, personal presentation, team building, and measurable achievements. You will watch the video later and understand this further. I'm not going to go so much into this, but this is crafted by the Kectil program, and we think successful young leaders have to have this 10 points. So, and we also looked at Uganda. I mean, this is our country. You already know about this. So, in a nutshell, that's just an overview of our leadership. And we can share the recording later. I don't know if Cecilia is back. Cecilia, are you back? Just let me know and you can continue.
Hi, Joel.
Otherwise, oh, great.
Can you hear me clearly now?
Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much for stepping in and for taking us through that recap. It is amazing. It feels like I was part of this whole session last time. It was a bit jumpy here and there last week, but at least from the recap, I'm able to pick key areas or key points that were really shared in that presentation. So today we are going to, we are still in leadership, and particularly today we are going to look a key aspect of the styles of leadership. So yes, we've looked at areas where you've known who a leader is, you've known the aspect of this is a leader and this is a manager. You can differentiate between the two. We've also got to know about the qualities of a good leader. We've known the different aspects of leadership in Uganda. Okay, so today we are going to look at something that is very broad, and it is about the leadership styles. Yeah. So as a leader, there are different ways in which you do your things, in which you'd want to achieve your objectives. Okay. So those different ways in which you'd want to show your capability as a leader are the styles that we're going to look at today. Okay, so by the end of this session, we should be able, or we should be in position to understand first of all, understand what the different styles of leadership are, and then also identify the kinds of leadership that the leadership styles that are done in Uganda here. Okay, so we shall look at the government arm, the non-government arm, probably even go into the traditional arm of the cultural leaders. What kind of leadership do they try to portray? Yeah, and then at the end of it, we're going to zero down to individual person. You as Sissy, you as Joel, as Derek, as Stella, what kind of leader are you? So you should be able to identify and say, oh, I am leader kind of A, B, C, and for this reason, I think that is why I'm able to thrive, or I am struggling, or do I need to change? Okay, and then finally we shall wrap up the session. Okay, I hope it will not take more than 1.5 hours. I want to keep it strictly to just 1 hour, and then the half will be more into the interactions, question and answer session. Okay. So yes, let me share my screen, my entire screen, and see. All right. Okay, we're going to look at the leadership styles. Can you put it on slideshow? We're going to look at the leadership styles. Okay, and then the key objectives of this session 1 is to understand the different leadership styles. I've mentioned that already. 2, to understand the advantages and disadvantages of the different leadership styles. Okay, so it is not just about knowing what leadership style is there, but it is good for you to know, if I use leadership style A, what are its advantages and what are its disadvantages? And what I also need to mention is, for these leadership styles, it is not static that you have to be stuck on one style. No, it depends on the time, depends on the situation, depends on the team you're working with, depends on the people that you're working with. There's some people who, if you dictate, or if you use a dictator type of leadership, you'll find that they work very well, other than when you're given a free style of leadership. Okay, so you will have to change from time to time depending on the situation or the kind of people that you're working with. And then we shall also go on to identify the different challenges and opportunities facing different leaders in Uganda. And at last, we understand their impact on impact of the opportunities or the challenges on the leadership style. Okay, so going on is getting a brief about a leadership style. Okay, so from definition, leadership style is a method of providing direction, implementing plans, and motivating people. Okay, so we looked at leadership as you as a person directing. Okay, you're directing, you're motivating, you're taking people to a given direction. That is leadership. But now the style we're looking at, how are you going to do that? How are you going to achieve your objectives? Because you as a leader, you're showing us the way into the given direction. But how are we going to get to that direction? So you look at the different method of providing direction, different methods of implementing the plans, and then different ways of motivating the people. Another definition is leadership style is the manner and approach of providing direction, implementing plans, and motivating people. It's not any different. It's just broadly giving an insight of the first one here. So it shouldn't get confused at all. Okay. Leadership styles. The first one, or I'm just going to give a picture of the different ones that we have, and then I'll go on to give, or we are going to discuss each one in detail. Okay, so there are quite a number of leadership styles. One of them is autocratic. Another one is democratic. So I will just give a picture of them and then I'll come into each one of them. So don't get worried that I'm rushing very fast, okay? So we have autocratic kind of leadership, and then we have authoritative type of leadership, and then we have pace-setting kind of leadership, okay? Just from the word, I hope you'll be able to get to know what we're meaning by pace-setting. Pace, you're setting the pace for the other people, okay? And then we have democratic. This word we've had it a number of times. We're saying our politics are not democratic, and yet we are saying we are electing and all that. So we are going to understand exactly what democratic is and why it is probably at some point you need to take on a democratic arm in regard to leadership. And then the next one is coaching, okay? Coaching and mentorship, we shall look at that in detail. And then there is one wonderful one that is called laissez-faire kind of leadership. I remember this term in economics, for people who did economics, laissez-faire kind of economy, an economy where the power is left in the hands of people, yeah? So it is them to decide what kind of prices they're going to charge, the cost of their goods. The government does not come in to limit or to set rules or whatever. It is just it's aside to guide what is happening. So I remember our teacher calling it "leave us alone" kind of economy, but that is just like a direct translation. So it is not any different from the laissez-faire in line of leadership. Okay, and then we shall look at what kind of leader you are, and then leadership in Uganda, and then we shall wrap up. Okay, so I know I've gone very fast on the different styles of leadership, but now let me go back and we look through them one by one. Okay, so autocratic kind of leadership. For us to understand it very easy, just use the word "do as I say." Autocratic, do as I say. What does it mean? I am the leader. I'll sit on my table and tell you, Joel, move from this seat and go and sit on the other chair. Joel, do this kind of work. Joel, go out and buy this and come.
Sissy, are you there? Derek? Godfrey? Hi, Sissy.
Hello, Derek. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Can everyone hear now? Can hear, okay. We are very sorry for that interruption. The
Yeah, now I
technology.
can hear you.
Okay, let us continue.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, we are having network issues, but we hope it doesn't continue like this. Okay, if it so happens, please bear with us, people who are online. Please just let me know in case you do not hear me, because I may not be in position to know unless you alert me or you notify me. So you can just raise your hand and then either type on the chat. I'll pick up on that very fast. Okay, so we are going to continue, and we are talking about autocratic kind of type of leadership. And same with autocratic kind of leadership, the word that will most describe it is do as I say. The do as I say, I also gave in an example of you being a dictator, okay? So with autocratic, the leader in most cases has absolute authority over his subordinates. What does it mean with autocratic? For him, he will do everything in the background and then just bring to you to either to implement it regardless of what your opinion is. Okay, so I'll give an example. If I have a, I'll give an example of Kectil and its programs, whatever it is doing. So for autocratic leaders, they will not come to ask the people they are training, the young people, about their training needs. But what they will do is to just go on, think for the young people, and then provide the trainings as they think it would be important or would benefit them. Okay, so at the end, you find the trainees do not have any say. They cannot say, oh, besides this training, maybe we need also training C, or this training, we've gone through it and we may not need it again. So we find that the leader takes on absolute authority over everything that is happening. Okay, but yes, it may sound really very awkward, but it has several advantages, really. Okay, so imagine you are at home and your word is what everyone should take. What kind of advantages do you think you'll have over? From off of my head, if I think in that direction, I'll be like, oh, so in case there's something I don't want,
no one will object what I have said. So there are no objections. That is one. And then two, there'll be easy decision making because I'm the only person who absolutely has authority or is in charge of making decisions. So whatever I say is what you will go with. Three, I see this will save time because imagine I have to go through, I have 5 people in the house and I have to ask all of them what we're going to eat today. I have to ask, what do you want to eat? And will say, I want peas and beans, peas and rice. Another will say, I want meat and this. Another will say, I want that. And so at the end, either I have to sit with all of them, discuss, and then we can come to one conclusion, or I have to cook for all of them. And you know what it means by going through all that. A lot of time it goes, a lot of resources. There's a lot of stages or steps to go through, which are also time wasting. So yes, I wouldn't really enjoy doing that. But as an autocratic leader, I'll just say, today we are eating posho and beans, and that is all. The decision has been made, time has been saved, and we are going to eat posho and beans. We move on to the next thing. Okay, so yes, it has advantages and it also has disadvantages. So I'm going to share the advantages that are here on the slide. One is faster decision making. Just like I've mentioned, you are the sole person who makes and then approves the decision. So it is very fast. Better communication. So, you know, sometimes when we have to go through a chain in order to come to a conclusion. So when you look at kind of organizations that have the manager at the top, and then you have probably the cleaners or the other people at the bottom. With autocratic kind of leadership, you'll not wait to go through all those people to get their opinion. One. And then two, you'll not need to go through another person to take the information to the last person that you want to get this information. So which means is, I, as the sole person, I'll come up with the idea and communicate to all the people at once. And so there will not be discrepancies of this information or information disappearing here and there or delays in the communication, among others. Next thing is it boosts productivity. How do you think autocratic kind of leadership boosts productivity? In my own opinion here, the way it boosts productivity is, as a leader, I sit down and then I draw the journey. I draw the way. I draw the objectives. I draw what I want to achieve at the end. So that means I have a clear picture of what I want. And then the next thing will be, I just bring it and impose it on you and tell you, go on and do A, B, C, D. So for you, you'll follow what I have told you. And at the end, you'll find that by having the clear picture, you're able to do what is required of you. Effective handling of crisis, yeah. In case there is a crisis and then you need to handle it in real time, you find it is very easy. Yeah, but if you're to go through a chain of people, you have to get everyone's opinion in order to come up with a solution. You may find by that time, yeah, you are unable to handle the crisis. And then reduces employee stress. The stress is on the head of the leader. So the employees themselves do not have like really a lot of stress. What they are doing is to wait for what they are going to do, and then they go on and do it. But in situations where employees have to think of what are we going to do, what kind of process are we going to follow, it is really stressing. And then it is ideal to counter team inexperience. So if you have an inexperienced team, sometimes they will need to follow your ideas. They'll need to follow your decisions. So if you're with a team that is experienced, probably you'll need to get their opinion because they have an idea of what is happening or what is to be done. But if you have an inexperienced team, you might need to go directly into telling them what they ought to do, and then they pick up from that. So yes, those are some of the advantages of autocratic kind of leadership. Before we go to the disadvantages, I would like to check if we are on the same page. Who can give us a picture of what autocratic leadership is? In your own way, how have you understood what autocratic leadership is? Anyone like to try? You can raise your hand or unmute and speak. Oh, thank you, Brenda. You can go on and share. Brenda, if you're speaking, then you are on mute. Kindly unmute. Brenda, you're still on mute. Okay, as we wait for Brenda to come on, who else would like to give it a try? Okay, Vivian, thank you. You can go on. Brenda, I think I'm having issues hearing you.
Vivian?
Okay.
Okay, go on now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
These are
please go on.
leaders. These are leaders who give authority to people in an organization. They don't give room to another person to decide on their own.
Okay, thank you, Vivian. Who else would like to give it a trial? Derek?
Are you hearing me now? Now, I've understood the
Loud and
autocratic
clear.
style of leadership as a style of leadership where a leader is given absolute power over everything, can decide over everything. But then I also have a question. Is autocracy the same as dictatorship?
Okay, thank you, Derek. I like how you have briefly summarized the definition of autocratic leadership. Okay, a situation where the leader is given absolute authority over the people who is leading. Okay, thank you. Joel, would you be in position to guide? What's the difference between autocratic leadership and dictatorship? Is it the same thing?
Sise, I think those are the same, because in authoritarian leadership, we have one person. There is only one line of command, and that is what Uganda had in the 1970s with our president Amin. So that is nearly the same.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I think all these, all the three, when you put them, when you look at their definitions, they look, or the kind of leadership is almost in the same direction. So autocratic, just like Derek has shared with us, this is where the leader has absolute authority in the organization. When looked at dictatorship, still I have the absolute authority because I dictate on whatever is happening. Yeah. And then authoritative, I have absolute authority still. I have authority over what is happening in an organization, over what I am doing, over the people that I am leading. Yeah, so these are just different words that may be used to describe the same thing or the same kind of leadership. So you can either use autocratic, dictatorship or authoritative. Yeah. Okay. So what do you think are some of the disadvantages of autocratic or of dictatorship? And I'm happy to hear that we had a brief about leadership in Uganda. And just as Joel has shared about the kind of leadership that we had with Amin. We've had stories. We've watched videos. We've watched plays of how the leadership was like. Okay. So from what we have picked or from what you think transpired at that time, what are the disadvantages of having authoritative or dictatorship, or autocratic kind of leadership? Besides the few that are here, I just put very few because I knew we are going to have it interactive. Derek, is your hand still up or it is a new one? Okay, no worries. Okay, this is a discussion, people. What are some of the disadvantages of you having absolute power over everything? Anyone would like to give it a try? Okay, who can explain the points that I have, one of the points that at least are here? We've talked about Amin as a great leader and then also as a bad leader. Yes? So how was he a bad leader? Probably we start from there.
Well, can you hear me now? Yeah, I have something to say about the second point, leads to resentment. That one means it leads to anger. You remember during Amin's time, people were angry and some people even went to the bush. If you've observed in countries where there are dictatorship, there is that extreme anger that leads people to rebellions, resistance, it leads to all that chaos. So that's what I understand by the second point.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Leads to resentment. So I'll give a live example. I like giving live examples. Yes? Okay. So in case every day I come and then I dictate upon how things should be done. Okay. Remember, you also have your own ways of doing things. But every time I come, I tell you, do it my way. Do it as I say. Do it this. At the next point, I'll say, no, but whom do you think you are? Yeah. Why do you think that what you're saying is only what is right? I also have my own opinions. I also have my own ways of doing things. So at the end, I'll end up rebelling against you. I'll say, no, I cannot continue with this because I don't agree with what you are saying. Okay. So resentment majorly is because of disagreements that could be there. I don't agree with what you're saying, and so I'll say no to it, and yeah, that will be the result. Okay. Thank you. And then develops a system of dependency. You see, we said that it reduces employee stress as an advantage. What do you think comes with that? I'll have to depend on Joel every time and again for anything because, first of all, I am not given the chance to even think on my own. I'm not given the chance to develop what could be or what we could use. So at the end, I'll have to sit back and wait for it to come from the person whom I think is the lead or the head. At the end, it will result into dependency, and you know what comes with me depending on you on everything. Yeah. And then low employee morale. So whenever you engage your employees, you get their opinions, and then they see it happen. There's a way it boosts them. There's a way they feel better. I'll give an example of, personally, I wrote an email yesterday and sent to my manager. So we are writing an email to send to some company where we are going to have a launch from. And so she just told me, draft the email, and then I will edit it and then send it through. So after her editing, she sent it and put me in copy. Oh my God, I was so amazed to see what was in the email, that 90% of what I had written was there. And she either changed a few words here and there, and then added also a few key points that needed to be added on what I had said. Oh my God, that gave me a lot of energy. I felt like, okay, so it means that I can also write something that is that could be important, something that is good, something that can be picked on. And so next time, if I'm given the chance to write another email, I'll even put in more energy to make sure that I do it to my best. But if at all I'd done this, or if at all, yes, the manager had come to me and asked me to write this, and then I write it, at the end she sends it without any input from me, I'll feel like, no, there's nothing that I'm adding onto what we are doing here. So there's no need for me really to continue doing this. And I had the same situation in my previous workplace, where my CEO would ask me to create slides for her presentations, and then by the end of the day, I take like almost a whole day creating these slides. I send, and then after her presentation, she says, "No, I didn't even look at those slides. I didn't have time really to go through them, so I just created my own slides." Yeah. So it makes me lose morale. I'm like, okay, what I'm doing is not helpful at all. The next time they told me, we shared this, and it was some bitter conversation, really, which I wouldn't want to go deep into it. So yes, autocratic leadership is good, but it also has its own advantages. But anyway, what situations do you think you need to dictate, and then what situations won't you need to dictate? I think that is also very key for us to talk about. Because it's not in every situation that I'll be soft. In other situations, I'll need to dictate. So when will you dictate, and then when would you not dictate? Want to leave it, right? Okay.
Now, assuming there is a, well, this is Derek again. Assuming you're a leader of a country and you're faced with a situation like the current pandemic, and people are still debating about vaccines, certain treatments, but you know there is something that is right, there's a solution. So to avoid all that chaos, if you give the opinion to people, people will always have very many opinions, even the bad ones are there. So in that situation, as a leader, I would dictate.
Thank you very much. Really, you've given us a relatable example. And yes, if I can give an example of the pandemic, and when the lockdown came in, did we have a choice to say that, no, President, don't lock us? We didn't have a choice. But at this point, he saw that that was the right thing to be done. If he has to go through each and everyone to get their opinion, trust me, some of us may have not survived up to this stage now. Yeah. So he had to come and dictate and say, I am locking at this time, everyone stay at home, do not move, all cars parked. And yes, it worked for us. So you see how autocratic works? Yes, it is also very, very important sometimes to know what situations in which you need to dictate, and then in what situations you need not to dictate. So you look at the time frame one, and then you look at the outcome. Yeah, if the outcome is helpful to the people in the shortest time possible, then you may need to come in and dictate on some things. If I am a manager and I need your reports by noon, actually I've given you a whole month to do this work, you haven't done it, and now it is just 2 hours into my submitting this report, I'll come and dictate and say, everyone sit on your desk, don't leave until you finish this report and send it to me in an hour's time. So you see, the democratic bit of it is I've given you a whole month to do this work, but because I'm seeing things are not going the right way, or if I give you that freedom, you may not be able to finish in time. So I will end up dictating so that you're able to finalize in time and then submit. Okay. Let me go to the second one and then we can go shortly for a break and then we can come back after. Okay. So the next one is authoritative. Okay. So just like I mentioned from the beginning, authoritative and autocratic, they seem to be the same, but there's just a very slight difference. Okay. Authoritative, I lead with authority. Like I take on everything on my end and then I give it to you. Follow me. Yeah. I hold the umbrella and then you follow me behind. Okay. At this point, there is some bit of flexibility. I can ask for your opinions because I will ask for your opinions and then use those opinions to pave my direction that I want us to take. But with autocratic, it is totally authority over me. Whatever I say is what you go with. Here, there is a bit of flexibility. Okay, so the phrase that best describes this is known as visionary. So these are visionary leaders who know where they're heading to, know what the objectives is. They do everything to see that it is achieved, and then they share it with the people that they're going to work with. In some instances, they will ask for people's opinion, but this is not because your opinion is absolutely important, but the opinion will guide him into achieving the objective. The saying authoritative leadership style is the mark of confident leaders who map the way and set expectations while engaging and energizing followers along the way. Okay? So I take the lead and then you follow. Okay. What are some of the advantages of I take the lead and you follow? One, it produces consistent results in a small group situation. So if I am leading this particular group and I am the bearer of the vision, yeah, that means we shall work towards achieving this vision every time and again, which will lead into we being consistent into achieving the objectives. It reduces the time needed to make decisions. Okay. So just like I mentioned, I do not have to go through everyone, but I can consult and then use those opinions into putting them in line to achieve my objective. And then two, it places all the pressure on the leader. Yeah, it is not any different from the autocratic. Some they seem similar on some areas. It creates clarity with the chain of command. So absolutely know that I am the leader, I have the authority, and everything you have to first consult me. Before you send this email, first call me. Before you do this, first call me. Let me know. So there is a clear chain of command. You wouldn't take on things that really do not match your role or your responsibility. And then it can provide a boost in productivity. What are some of the disadvantages? May cause some employees to rebel, reduces the amount of group input received, creates moments of insecurity within the leadership. I'm going to give more insight on that. Okay. And then may impair the morale of the group of the people. And then it creates lack of feedback. So the last one, just like I mentioned, is I ask you some things just because I want to get information, but not because I am absolutely going to consider what you are saying. So I will get your information and then I'll go on and do my things depending on what you have told me. I will not come back to tell you that, yes, because of the information that you shared, this is what I've come up with. No. Okay? So it blocks the two-way system of communication where you speak and then I give feedback. I'll receive from you, but I may not get back to you. And then may impair the morale of the people. You lose morale, especially if you share your ideas and you're not very sure if they are going to be taken on or if they may not. And if they are taken on, you're not given feedback at all about it. So it will not help you really to get the energy to go to or to do the next thing. And then creates moments of insecurity within the leadership. Insecurity is a situation where you feel like you're not safe. So within the leadership circle, if you find that there is one person who is taking the lead of everything, he's the one who is doing A, B, C, D. For the other people, you feel like, are we safe here? Am I even helpful in what I am doing? Am I even productive? Am I even bringing something important to this organization? What will happen tomorrow? Yes, so it causes insecurity in you, and at the end you'll feel like, oh, I might have to leave this team because I'm not bringing in any input, so I may not be helpful at all. Okay, so yes, those are some of the advantages and disadvantages of authoritative. Okay, so who can, let's go back to recap on this. Who can give us a picture of what authoritative is and give us probably the difference between the authoritative and the autocratic? Who can give it a try? Okay, thank you. Come and give it a try.
This is Derek once again. What I think about authoritative, this is a leader who is like a vision bearer. And if you believe in his vision, you follow and do whatever he tells you to do to achieve that common goal. And in the process, he is kind of an autocratic leader also. But how to clearly, but I think they are similar with the autocratic. Yeah, I don't know much about the difference now.
Okay, so just to highlight where the difference could be is with autocratic. With autocratic, we said that it is do as I say. Yes, and then with this one is I am the vision bearer. So that means you follow my vision. Follow me. Yeah, follow me. Yeah, do as I say. Do as I say means you don't have any input at all.
Let me ask another question.
Yes.
Where would you put religious leaders? Are they authoritative leaders?
Not really. Which vision do they bear? The vision to bring people back to Christ. Authoritative? No, let's finish them all, and then we shall see where to put the religious leaders. Yeah. Yes. Yes, they may be authoritative, by the way, because they're not democratic. Anyway.
Let people first contribute.
Okay. Yes. All right. So there's a question here. Where do you think the religious leaders fall? That one we are going to look into it when we finish up all these types of leadership. Okay. Yeah, by that we shall be able to know either they're authoritative or autocratic or any other forms of styles of leadership. Styles of leader, sorry. Anne, your hand is up. Go on.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, it's my first time to be on this platform, and I have a say about being authoritative. Is basically I say and you do, and you don't have a say over it. That is what I understand by being authoritative.
And then autocratic?
I have no idea.
Okay, no worries. By the end of this session, we should be able to differentiate them. But just like I mentioned, the difference is a really, really thin line. It is not very clear that now I'm at this point, I am being authoritative, and then I'm on this point, I am being autocratic. Yeah, you know that most times it is very hard for us to tell that now this leader is using being authoritative on us or is dictating on us. It is very hard for us to tell. Yeah. But for me, where I can draw the line is if this leader can come and ask me about my view on ABC, I'll consider that leader. And the reason as why he's asking me about that is so that he can use that information to achieve a vision or an objective. I'll consider that leader authoritative. But for the leaders who may not want to, will not come to ask anything from me at all, but what they want is bring to me to do, then I will consider that as a leader who is autocratic. The only difference is this one is a vision bearer and then is looking into achieving it, will consult here and there to get information on how they can achieve this objective. And then the other one is he knows everything. He will not come and consult, but what he wants is for you to do, to follow him to achieve whatever he wants to. So there's no opinion at all. With authority, there's a bit of your opinion being taken in. Anyway, let me check in with Joel. Joel, are you there?
Sure, I'm here.
Yes, Joel, give us a picture of who an autocratic leader is and who an authoritative leader is, in your own opinion.
That is really confusing, but autocratic means you are the sole owner of power. That is autocratic. So whatever you say is right. And the line of command is very short. Actually, it's mostly just you, right? And like you gave an example of a company where there is a manager and there are a few people, maybe cleaners and stuff. So the bureaucracy is totally not there. But now, in the other one, what is it? Authoritative. Yes. So this is more of you mostly use powers. While in the other one it might be mild, here you will see leaders who command and they use powers and authority and they can even punish you. So and a typical example would be like the Idi Amin style, which I mentioned earlier. So these are more or less the same. Someone can use the two interchangeably, but I think authoritative means you really exercise your powers. You only use authorities, command. While authoritarian means well, there is a bit of politeness in it. So that's how I would distinguish the two. But it's also not very uncommon to find people use this interchangeably. I don't know what you have to say.
Okay, thank you, Joel, for sharing that. Derek would like to ask something.
My point on the difference, what I think about authoritative leadership, if you look at this statement, the authoritative leadership style is a mark of confident leaders who map the way and set expectations the most important point is here, while engaging and energizing followers along the way.
Yes.
So authoritative leadership is like you set a vision and you convince others to join you. You don't force. You convince them to join your vision. Like if I see that your vision is good, of course I have to follow you. My opinion will not matter much because the vision is not mine. My role is to follow you as a leader. But autocratic is about reducing bureaucracy. All these opinions of others that may lead to confusion. You just make your own decisions. Do this, do this, do this. Whereas if you look at authoritative, it's just about your vision. People following your vision. That's what I understand.
Okay, yes. So from this I get, what the picture I get is, with autocratic, I want you to do this, follow me. No, I want you to do this, do it then. And then authoritative, this is what I want to do. Do you agree with it? If yes, then follow me. Yes, I think now the picture is coming. With autocratic or dictatorship, I want you to do this, do it. Like you have no option, but do it. And then authoritative, I'll be like, this is what I think is right. Or this is what, yes, this is what I want to achieve. Do you agree with me? If yes, follow me. If no, then you fall out, right? Okay, we continue. Continue.
Okay.
Oh, people are going for break. Do we go for break and then we come back? Or do we go at 11:30? Okay. Okay, let's continue and then we shall go for break at 11:30. Okay, this one I left the advantages and disadvantages blank because I want it to be interactive. We can go through it together to fill in this space here. Anyway, pace setting, just like the word says, you set the pace. Keep up, okay? That kind of leader is the one who will he will start and then would want you to follow. He will leave as an example. He'd want you to do as he is doing. He'd want you to follow his footsteps. Okay? So here the word that best describes would best describe this kind of leadership is keep up. Keep up is the phrase most indicative for leaders who utilize the pace setting style. This style describes a very driven leader who sets the pace, as in the race. Pace setters set the bar high and push their team members to run hard and fast to finish the line. Okay? So I will come and demonstrate and show you what we want to achieve. And then I will sit back and see you go step by step to see that you achieve it. When you achieve that, then I'll come and set the next level or the next step. And then we go on with that throughout. If I set this vision or mission, and then I see in the middle, we may not be able, or we are not moving to achieving it, I will come and realign. Okay? So take an example of a race, just like they're giving us here. Take an example of a race, and then you want to complete 100 kilometers in just one day. As a pace-setting leader, I will come and then I will show you how we are going to do it. And then we can kick off on doing it. Sometimes I will even demonstrate or I will take the lead. So I will say for us to achieve this, we shall have to run at this kind of speed. So we follow that speed to see that we achieve what we are looking for. And in the middle of the journey, just in case I see either you're losing the pace or you're moving too fast, I will still come back and realign to make sure that we go back into what we think is right. Okay? So, yeah, let's come and discuss this out. Pace setting. Who is a leader? Who is a pace setting leader? Or what is pace setting leadership kind of style? Okay, Derek, would like to try?
I think a pace setting leadership style is like someone who's a mentor.
Okay. Someone who is a mentor, someone who would want you to follow given footsteps and so will guide you through the journey getting there. Thank you. Another person? Oh, I see people had shared their ideas in the chat here. Apologies, I did not go through them in real time, but I'm going to look through them and then we can share about them. I see key good points on authoritative kind of leadership. Okay. So Walter, I see your question. What is an example of a pace setting leader? Okay. I cannot say an absolute person that ABC is an absolute leader, but I can give an example of a manager in a marketing department manager. I can give an example. So as a marketing manager, I come in and share with my team about what you're going to achieve in the next 1 week. And then we set objectives, yeah? Set objectives and say each person is going to sell at least 5 items, okay? That is, I'm trying to set the pace. I'm trying to clearly show how we are going to achieve our objective, okay? And then I'll go on and say, so and so will go to this place, we'll go to Chireka, so and so will go to this place, and so will go to another place. So I'm trying to direct people onto where exactly they are going to go to. And then at the as we are going that, I'll come and review. I'll come and review and check. Joel, how has your journey been like? Emma, how has it been like? Is it all fine? And then if I see that probably the pace I had set is too high, that people may not be able to achieve it, I'll come in to try and reduce and say, okay, we thought selling 5 items would be ideal, but basing on what I have seen, it may not be ideal. So let's go on and probably reduce to 3 or 4. Okay. So for me, I will set the pace and say for the managers, you'll be at this level. For the officers, you'll be at this level. For the coordinators, you'll be at this level. And so we all move at a given pace to see that we achieve what we are looking for. So I cannot say there is this absolute person who is a pace setter, but you as a leader, you can choose to be a pace setter kind of leader. And then you, depending on your goals, you'll be able to achieve them in that line. Okay. I see Jenny is saying a pace setter leader is one who sets an objective and lays high standards of how to achieve the goal that is through his guidance and involvement. Thank you very much, Jenny. So a pace set leader has an objective, and then for him, he will just set, put up a setup of how this is going to be achieved. He'll give you the sense of direction. He will guide you through this journey. He'll want to stand with you throughout this journey to see that this objective is achieved. So what are some of the advantages of a pace setter kind of leader? Stella?
Okay. Thank you, Sissy, for sharing. One of the advantages of a pace-setting leader is that goals are achieved faster. A person is going to set a goal, then because he's going to keep on pushing the team members to achieve what he has set as his goal, that means people will be pushed towards achieving a particular goal, and that will not waste a lot of time. So all in all, the goals are achieved faster under the pace-setting leadership style. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Stella. First of all, you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. And then you're working with these people to see that you achieve it. You're part of the journey. Yeah. If I'm moving with you and we're moving together, there's no way me as a junior can say, oh, I am tired, let me sit down, and yet my manager is still working. Okay, so I will have to work at the pace of the manager to see that we achieve the objectives. And so in most cases, you are able to achieve the objectives of the organization or your objectives faster.
Leadership.
Yes, it is lead by example.
You first do to motivate.
You said the pace. You do, and then they will do as you do, not as you say.
Okay.
Yeah, they will do as you do. Okay, there's a point here. This kind of leadership gives morale to the team members since their leader acts by an example. Amazing. I'm happy to hear these answers, really. It is making me feel like we are understanding these concepts. And by the end of this session, we should be able to know that, yes, I'm a pace setter, I am authoritative, I am autocratic, sometimes I am democratic. Anyway, thank you, Jenny, for sharing. Any other person? Derek, you wanted to say something? All right. Yes, Joel? Okay, we can continue. Walter is saying, on the other hand, employees receive little or no feedback. Okay, is that on a disadvantage? Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to get back to you, Joel. Walter, on this. Derek would like to say something.
Well, I think all of you this week you saw our Chief Justice Owindolo making bricks. Is that a good example of a pace setup? Because I think that motivated others also to continue making the bricks harder. So is that an example of a pace setter?
Okay. Derek is asking a question in regard to someone who comes to do something, even if it is at a low level, but just to show you how it is done or to demonstrate or to work with you. Would that be an example of a pace setter? And he has given an example of the Chief Justice who recently has been in the news and media. He was part of the team that was he joined the team that was making bricks. Would you consider him a pace setting leader or? Okay, in my own opinion, I would consider, but I'd also consider circumstances through which he went to do that. It's me going to do that because I want to show you that I can also do this regardless of my position or what. So I'm not coming to set the pace, but what I'm coming to do is to act as an example. I'm not to act as an example, but I'm coming to show you that even at a higher position, I can still do this. I'm coming to inspire. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. If I'm coming to inspire you to do something, then it may be different from me coming to set the pace. Setting the pace means I take the lead and you follow. So I'm taking the lead, and then if I say we are going to take two steps every 1 minute, we shall follow that. So you'll follow directly my footsteps. Yeah. And then for this person, in case he just came in to show that as a Chief Justice, I can also do this. You're trying to inspire me. You're trying to show that regardless of whatever, there's something else you can do. So you're trying to inspire me through this. You're not setting the pace, but you're trying to show me. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting confused anyway. Anyway, what I was trying to mean is for the professor, I mean for the Chief Justice, depending on the circumstances through which he did this, but in my own opinion, I'd consider him a pace setter. Yeah. Okay. Let's finalize with this and people go for break. It is already 11:30. What are some of the disadvantages? I see Walter is saying, on the other hand, employees receive little or no feedback. Let me see. You're setting the pace. You're focusing on achieving the goals, so you wouldn't mind about the other people. Yes. Okay, Walter, I'm going to get back on this. Just give me a minute. I'm going to get back on this. I see someone is saying, still what I saying, issues are swiftly addressed. Yeah, sometimes since you set the pace and want people to follow that, you may not be in position to go and ask everyone. Not hear me. I may not be in position to ask everyone, and so in that position, we may be in position to handle our issues very fast, but that is an advantage, I think. I say in this kind of leadership, a person is able to acquire some experience since they are given time to practice. Oh, that is for the people who are following. So you're following an example of someone. So I agreed a bit of working from example, learning from an example. Okay, so for me, I come and show you what is right, what I want you to do, and then you follow my footsteps. You follow what exactly I am doing. At that point, at least you have a place or a point to learn from. And then Walter Stale is saying work becomes repetitive and boring. Sometimes in case you're doing the same kind of work, so every time you have to take the same, follow the same procedures, follow what the person is doing, etc. It can get boring at some point. Okay, so from this point, let's go for a break. How many minutes? Up to midday. We come back at midday. Okay, let's go for a break and then we come back exactly at midday and we rush through the remaining 3, and then we go on to analyze what kind of leaders we are, and then we can close up this session. Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining. We just have around 20 minutes and then we shall come back. When we come back, we shall have questions, and then also we shall have a recap of what we have here on authoritative. Some people put points, key points there. Okay, see you at midday. Anyone with a picture of what democratic form of leadership is? I see Jenny is typing. Okay, as Jenny is coming and the other people are also typing. Democratic leaders. These are leaders who would like to hear other people's opinions, and it is not just about hearing them, but it is putting them into consideration. Yeah. So you don't just listen to people's views, to people's opinions, but you listen to them because you want to pick or you want to know what their say is, and so it can guide you in regard to decision making. Okay. So briefly here, they're saying democratic leaders are more likely to ask, how do you see it? How do you feel about it? Like they want to hear your opinion. If you see it in a different angle from what they are saying, from what they are trying to communicate, we'll try to ask you, why do you think that is right? Why do you think yours is better than mine? So they always want to hear your say, and they make decisions basing on that. Okay. Currently, most countries are adopting this form of leadership just because of its advantages, and then also because of because people's opinions are very important, and so you making decisions basing on them will help not only you as a person to grow or become better, but also them and the entire organization or entity or country. Okay? You've seen countries like European countries, most of them have taken up the democratic form of leadership. Before they close a road, they first have to ask people. Yeah, they'll put an opinion poll somewhere. They'll have to ask them, do you think it is right for us to close this door for to close this road for 2 weeks as we are maintaining, we are using it for ABCD. If people say no, we use that road to access ABC, so it is very essential that we use it and we do not close it, they will say, okay, if that is the case, is it possible to close it during the day and then we use it during the night, or vice versa? So they'll look out for ways in which both of you can fit in. Okay. Does anyone have any different way in which they can explain democratic form of leadership? Yes, Derek.
For me, the way I look at democracy is simply assuming that the majority is right, because people always have it is natural that people have different opinions everywhere, and it causes what? Confusion when people have different opinions. Now, democracy just assumes that the majority is right, and they go by that.
I like the way you summarize your points, really. Derek, with democracy, they assume that what the majority say is what is right. Okay. Yeah, Derek has a question.
That majority can also be wrong. but democracy just assumes that the majority is right.
Yes. Yes. It is in most cases not what the majority say is the right thing, but they will go because yes, the majority says so. So we have to go by it. Okay. So what are some of the advantages of democratic form of or kind or style of leadership? Let me see people use the chat. Advantages of democratic. Why should everyone's opinion be important? Okay. Anyone to give a try? Someone online, someone in the house here would like to give a try? Okay. Of democratic type of leadership.
Let me try. Okay. The first advantage to Okay, thank you very much, Sisi. I one advantage.
Okay, we are having feedback here. She's going to use my laptop.
Okay, thank you very much, Sisi. The very first advantage of a democratic leadership style that I would admit to is that it helps us to make the best decision and helps us to achieve the right thing that we wish to achieve. Because we see the employees, they have that they move ahead to ask the employers their opinions. They come to a round table and decide. So at times we find that the employee might not be right and the opinions from the employers will be right. So therefore, when they come together, they make the best decision that will see that company striving or moving to the or doing the very best to achieve whatever it is aimed at achieving. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm going to try to be a little bit fast because of time. So I may dominate the presentation here, but in case you have any point, kindly unmute and speak or raise your hand, then I will identify you. Okay, so I see Jenny is saying, when you hear of democracy, that's definitely freedom. In this kind of leadership, team members have freedom to express their opinion about a certain decision, and they are also allowed to suggest their own views. Yes, there's freedom of expression, there's freedom of sharing views, and at the end, also in decision making, they are involved. Thank you. It encourages participation among team members. Yes. So if at all, just come and ask my opinion. Sometimes it doesn't even matter whether you take it or not, but just the mere fact that you come and ask for my opinion will encourage me so hard, even in future stages, in whatever I'm doing. And then Jen is also saying it also brings many viewpoints on table. Yes, remember, if you are like 10 people and all of your opinions are very important, at the end you'll have a number of points to put together to consider. Okay, so yes, this summarizes the advantages. Some of the disadvantages so for me to summarize all these things, or for me to understand it better, is that the advantages of so democratic is the opposite of autocratic. Okay, So you either be democratic or you be autocratic. So which means the advantages of democratic are the disadvantages of autocratic, and vice versa. What does this mean? For the disadvantages of democratic, we shall look at the advantages of autocratic. One, disadvantages of democratic. Yeah, one is it is time wasting. Remember, on autocratic we say it is time saving, and now here a disadvantage we are saying it is time wasting because you have to seek everyone's opinion. In democratic, as an advantage, a disadvantage, we are saying it takes like everyone being involved. Sometimes it delays decision making. Yeah, and yet in autocratic we said with it, one of its advantages is that decision making is very fast. Yeah, so here you have to get everyone's opinion, which delays decision making. Okay, another disadvantage is it takes a long time. You have to take everyone's opinion. Sometimes not everyone will agree with what you're saying, and the point that Derek mentioned, in that they want, like they assume majority's opinion is right, or they take the majority's opinion, but sometimes not the majority's opinion is really the right opinion. So sometimes we end up taking opinions not because they are right, but because that's what the majority wants. I see Fred is saying it invites high level of commitments. Yes, sometimes if you have suggested something and we take it up, we may, and sometimes you're given the authority to take it on, to own it, go on and build it up. So at that point, you have to be committed to see that whichever point or whichever suggestion you have brought works really. Okay. So as I said, I'm going to be a bit fast because of time. And then the other one we have is the coaching style. The coaching style is, this is where you're trying to develop talent, you're trying to develop someone. Yeah. So when you identify that you as a leader, you go on and identify someone, and then you go, after identifying, you train them. You want them to take certain kind of traits. So you want to train them in that direction. Okay. So what is the advantage of coaching someone? Before I go into that, I'll give some different examples of coachings. Yeah. So you take an example of the football academy schools. Yeah. We see they go out there, they identify young people who show talent or would be good footballers. Yeah. And so after identifying them, they come and take them through the coaching sessions, the trainings, the mentorship, preparing them into what they want them to become. Yeah. So as a coach, there's most times do not take people who are absolutely what you want, or what you want them to be, but you identify talent and then you take them through the journey of making them what you want them to become. And from just that definition, one of the advantages I will say is that it helps to develop talent. Yeah, it helps because you identify and then you go on to develop it. And then another advantage of coaching is that it helps to build character. Yeah. So it is not a one-day thing. It is not a 2-day, but it goes through a process. So it helps to build character or traits of this person. Okay. And then the other advantage is that it involves a lot of learning and skilling. Okay? So as the coach yourself, you need to be learned, or you need to learn. And then the person you are coaching as well, you need to train them throughout that session or that period. And then two, these leaders in most cases are up to date with what is happening or what is ought to happen in that particular field. So you'll find if you are a football coach, you'd want to know what kind of talent, what kind of skills would a best footballer need? What kind of training do they need to be better people? In this pandemic or in this era, we are in a different era now. In this current era, what kind of footballers work. So they always have to research. They always have to read. They always have to look out for material in order to keep up to date. And then some of the disadvantages, just like I mentioned, it is not a one-day thing, which means it takes a long time. Yeah. And then sometimes you might identify talent and then it doesn't work out. We've seen so many football coaches go and buy footballers, and then with hope that they're going to coach them and then make them what they want to be expensively. Then at the end, the player fails to fit in the team. So at the end, you find that you have wasted a lot of time, a lot of resources. Yes, that's also a disadvantage. It needs a lot of resources for you to be able to achieve it. Yeah. And then with coaching, you need to have experience. So without experience, you cannot be a coach. Yeah. And then finally, the laissez-faire kind of leadership. Just like I mentioned, direct translation, it would be leave us alone. But yeah, that is very direct. However, if it is just to help you remember what definition it is, you can use that. However, with the laissez-faire kind of leadership, the leader will come and then I'll tell you what exactly you're going to do, and then sit back and wait to see how you do it. So the most times they want to see your approach. How do you approach things, not them imposing things onto you? Yeah. So it is a bit different from democratic. It means they want your opinion in order to make decisions. And then laissez-faire, they entirely leave it in your hands to identify the process, identify the method, the way, implement it up to the end. So the leader will come and guide you through, this is what I want to achieve, and then sits back. Yeah, we've seen these kinds of leaders in say in an organization where that organization that don't need very close monitoring. So I as a leader, I'll just tell you, you have 2 weeks to finish this. Whichever way you finish it, whether you finish it in 1 week or in those 2 weeks, whichever methods you're going to do to see that you achieve it, won't matter really. And I've seen this work normally in the marketing department, the marketing team. They will tell you this is what we're achieving in the next 2 months. And then probably they give you a bit of trainings of how you're going to do it. And then you go to the field yourself to sell. So at the end, it is not how you sell, but it is how much have you been able to sell. Have you been able to meet the objective, the target? Okay. So some of the advantages of the laissez-faire is that it gives the employees ownership of what they are doing. So if you, from day one, you tell me, Sisi, you're taking on or you're leading on the leadership series. So it is me to plan what kind of series are we going to have, what time are we having it, when are we doing it, etc., etc. I will own it. It will feel like it is mine. So at the end, it will help me gain a lot of experience. It will help me own what I am doing. It will help me love what I am doing. Sometimes it gives me the freedom to do what I'm supposed to do and also do other work that fits in my timing. So yes, before we go to disadvantages, Derek would like to say something.
From what I've understood, it's like this kind of leadership focuses more on accountability of results other than accountability of the process. You've understood?
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me? My internet is a bit shaky. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? My internet is a bit shaky. Okay, great. So yes, with the laissez-faire, we are not looking at majorly at the processes, but we are looking at the results. Yeah. Okay, so what are some of the disadvantages? If you get a reluctant team, yes, and then you do this to them, you give them the assignment, and then you sit back. Trust me, on that day, you'll find that nothing has not been done. And yet, as a manager, probably you need to report to the senior management team. Probably you need to, the product should be ready to give to the customers. Okay, so this is very disadvantageous to teams that are, to people who are reluctant. And then two, it sometimes you feel like the sense of like your subordinates will not, sometimes may, which word do I want to use? Will not respect you. I don't know if it is the best word, because if I'm the one who has done everything, yes, for you just came and told me do this, and then you sit back and wait for results. Why should I feel like, yeah, you are, why should you own this work as a leader? So you find that the employees will own this work and they feel like they are theirs, other than it is on your side as a leader. And then also there are no clear processes here. So what does it mean? It means there will not be consistency. Yeah. So another disadvantage, no clear processes, which lead to inconsistency at some point. Okay. Yeah. So because of time, I will stop at this, in line with the styles of leadership.
Hey, hey. ICC? Is someone talking? Hello, Derek. Can you hear me? Is this done? Because I was away.
No, she's not.
So I think we can't hear her. Derek, may you check?
Hi, Joel.
Hi, now we can hear you.
Oh, yes. Technology wants to play us. But yeah, we shall manage. If you managed COVID, we shall manage it also.
Great. I like this
Okay.
resilience.
Okay, where did you lose me from? Had I finalized with a laissez-faire kind of leadership?
I'm not sure. Myself, I did not have good connection.
Okay. Okay. I'll start from the bit of we trying now to look in ourselves or try to have self reflection or self assessment, okay, on what a kind of leader you are, or what kind of leadership style, no, not what kind of leader you are, but what kind of leadership style you use and when you use it, okay? So me, I'll start with myself. Me, sometimes I dictate. So I'll give an example of at home. I have a small family at home there with some people that I stay with. And sometimes when I give them the freedom to do things in the way that would best suit them or ask for their opinions, one, I'll end up not getting what is required, or they'll end up not doing what is required. So at the end, I end up dictating, and it works for me. So at home, I dictated that every Monday is a cleaning day at home. So cleaning day means put everything outside, wash, clean, and do what, and put back inside. So that they don't like it because that is like the day they also need to rest at home. But yeah, if someone is off from Monday to Sunday, I mean from Tuesday to Sunday, they are not at home, which means they wake up in the morning and go. And so there's no thorough cleaning really done. This means that there's only one day that is left and they want to rest, to sleep and watch TV on that day. So I dictated and said, and yes, it has helped me achieve in that at least hygiene is improved. People are able to iron their clothes, do this and do that. And yeah, that is one of the ways in which I can come in and dictate. One, if I see that if I don't dictate, then we may not be able to achieve a given objective. And then two, sometimes I am democratic, like extremely, I am so democratic, especially when it comes to how people do or people handle their private life. Yeah. I will not come and dictate and tell you do this or do that. I'll leave you to do whatever you do. But sometimes I'll just come in here and there to ask some questions and yeah, just check if everything is moving on well. And then also pick opinions on how we can improve the way we stay at home. Yeah. Also, when it comes to the foods people eat, sometimes I am very democratic. Democratic meaning that I will not prepare for everyone what they want. But what I will do is to hear some people's opinions and then come up with a conclusion or end up preparing what one person, what the majority of the people say. Sometimes I'm a laissez-faire kind of leader. Yeah, where I just leave you do your thing. I sit back and monitor, but I want results at the end. Anyway, that is me giving examples from my end. I would like to hear other people on when you tend to be a democratic leader and when you tend to be an autocratic leader or when you tend to be a pace setter. Kindly use the chat and then also you can raise your hand and share your view. Yes, Joel, thank you. Kindly go on.
Okay, sister. I think I agree with you that you can be or you can exhibit many styles of leadership depending on the situation. I think we have to change according to situations. if we are to be successful in our leadership. Because, for instance, there are circumstances where an authoritarian leader would be more successful than the other. There are also instances where the democratic one would be more successful than the other types. So you have to choose on a case-by-case basis. And I wouldn't say there is one single style which, one size fits all. No. I think we just have to be flexible as leaders and change according to the environment. That's what I wanted to add.
Oh, thank you very much, Joel. Yes, I like your view about the different forms of leadership. There is no one fit for role, but depending on the situation. And I think this brings me to a point of probably in the next sessions, we can also look at the different theories or approaches to leadership. Okay, so you have the situational approach. That's where you look at a situation at hand and then you react as a leader depending on the situation. The president was totally came in to dictate on how we are going to live during the pandemic because of the situation and what it was going to bring or to cause to us. Okay, and then we have the situational approach, and then we have the transactional approach. Transactional, it means it depends on the terms of trade or the exchange. What are you giving me and what am I giving you? And then transformational, you're looking at changing from one position or one place to another. Yeah, so you look at different theories and different approaches to leadership, really. And I will appreciate if we have a session basically to look in detail through that. Thank you, Joel. Any other person to share? Could I have one more person? Could I have one final person? Derek, I know you're busy, but would you like to share something and then we go to the next?
What I think about these styles of leadership? No one leader, one style. It just depends on the situation. One leader can choose to be a leader depending on the situation. Maybe if you're in a situation of war, with democracy, like when Uganda attacked ADF, they need to first consult the people. How long will that take? Because war is something imminent. The attack can be imminent. So in that case, you have to be practical, of course. But on other issues, like you said, in a home, what shall we eat? There you can listen to people. So what matters is the wisdom of the leader. That's why we say leaders are supposed to be wise, know what to do at a given time. That is all.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Derek. So for you to identify the kind of leadership style that you're going to use, look in critically on what kind of situation is it, is it the right timing, how much time do I have to make a decision, how many people do I have to reach out to. Yeah, so look at the questions of, actually put in mind is it called the 7W concept? Look at the what, the when, the where, how, which. So all those, if you feel like you have answered them with a given kind of style, then you take it up. Okay, so finalizing, these are some of the key things that you can put into consideration when you're identifying or choosing what form of leadership strategy you're going to use at that particular moment. So think about your personality. Yeah, who are you as a person? If you are a religious leader, would you need to dictate on some things? Will you need to be the pace setter? Would you need to be an autocratic, an authoritative kind of leader? So you look at your personality as a person. Yeah. So for me, the way my explanation was in regard to I as a mother. Yes, what would I do? What would I want my family to look like? So I would look at the personality of I being a mother, and then I'll choose the form of leadership that the style of leadership that I will take on. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. Yeah. So if you know that you're the kind of person, you know your strengths, you know you're good at your decisions, you're good at identifying which is the best decision and which is not the best, then probably you can go on and use the dictatorship or the autocratic form of leadership. But if you know that whenever you make decisions, sometimes and they backfire, it affects you, then you can go on and first inquire from other people, find their opinions, and then put all this information together, and then you end up you come up to make a decision, and then build out a balanced team. Yeah, so the balanced team would be a team that doesn't feel like it is so pressed, it is given too much freedom, a team that doesn't feel like it is not contributing anything at all, its opinions are not taken up. Yeah, so look at how you balance all of them. That's why I'm saying in one situation, be autocratic, in another situation, be democratic, and then in the other, be a laissez-faire or a pace setter. It's never too late to change your style. So if you start with being a dictator and you see that it is not working, then it is never too late for you to change. You can change accordingly. Yeah. And then understand the different styles. That is why we had this session today, so that we're able to understand the different styles and then identify which one works when. And then practice before you go to impose this to your people, before you decide that now I'm going to take this kind of style. Try it out and see if it is something that can be taken on. And then stay agile or alert. A good leader should be able to move very swiftly or change or think very fast, yeah, depending on the situation at hand. All right for you. Okay. I want to finalize on this. Okay, leadership in Uganda. I wanted us to have a very exciting discussion about this, but I will give it as an assignment for us to do. Joel, you'll guide me on how normally assignments are done. I don't know if Joel is still there. Joel, are you there? And Godfrey? Is Godfrey there? Okay, so we're talking about leadership in Uganda, and I'd wanted us to take this as an assignment. What kind of leaders do we have in Uganda? Yeah, I know this would call for a debate, but yeah, after understanding the different leadership styles and how they work, I hope we have answers, or we can have answers to this. And then, which is the most prominent leadership style in Uganda? Yeah, and then we can discuss this in groups. Unfortunately, because of time, we may not be able to discuss these in groups now. But I'd wanted it to be as an assignment that we can go and do. Just give me a minute, I consult.
Hello, hello, hello. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
Joel. Yes, thank you. You're here. We can hear you.
Great.
Yes, so we had wanted to go into leadership in Uganda. However, because of time, may not be able in detail to look through our religious leaders, look at the traditional or cultural leaders, and then look at the executive leaders. Those are the parliamentarians and what all. May not have that time. However, I wanted to give this as an assignment, and I wanted to find out, how do we do our assignments? Do we research and then in the next training we share, or do we research and send through for reviews and feedback?
Normally they would send through and we check and we give them. Yeah.
Okay, which one do you think would work for us now?
I think they just have to make some bullet points, not really a school type kind of essay, just bullet points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So people, both online and in the house here, because of time, we are not going in detail to look at leadership in Uganda, but spare some minutes to go and read. For guidance, you can go and read about leadership in the traditional culture of Uganda, read about leadership in the religious sector, and then also read about the leadership in general in Uganda in regard to presidency, and then the other leaders also that we have. Okay, so after that, get a picture of what kind of leaders we have in Uganda. Put bullet points. Okay, we have democratic leaders because of ABCD. We have laissez-faire leaders. Then you give a bit of context on it, and then here is like a conclusion. What is the most prominent? This one is not going to be, it is your own opinion, so it should be in your own opinion. This is the one you think is the most prominent. However, you have been a very amazing audience. I wish time was on our side, and so we can have more time to discuss more in detail and have interactions, question and answers, and share. But because of time, may not be able to do that. However, I'm happy to mention that Joel is here and he's going to take us briefly in a very exciting topic. I hope we are able to pick up key points that will lead us to our journey to leadership. So Joel, are you able to take on from here? Joel, are you there?
Yes. Can you change to my slide, because I have a problem with my computer, so I'm using the phone. I may request you to just be changing the slides for me.
Okay, no problem.
So you go to manage presentations and you'll see my slide. So yeah, mine is going to
Joel,
be.
is it the one that is named Leadership PPT 2?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the one. Okay, very first page. Alternatively, you could also give me rights to control, but if you have the time, that's also okay. Otherwise, I hope my sound is okay.
Yes, your sound is okay. I'm going to give you rights so you're able to control from your end.
Yeah, so
You
if
can
you
take
click
on
on
the
my name,
presentation.
there is.
Yeah. Okay, which one should I make? There are two. The one that is unmuted?
think it's what.
Which one, Joel?
Yes, yeah, stay there.
Okay.
So, guys, like I told you last week, I said I would take you through design thinking. Sorry, this part of the book called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. These are habits that everyone actually needs, whether or not you're a leader. You need these habits, and these habits, if you have them, then you're able to make the most of your potential, but also work well with people around you in an organizational setting. So, yeah, the book is called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, written by Stephen R. Covey. The book has been around for, I think, the past 25 years, and it has sold so many copies. I think over 25 million copies as of today, and it's a bestseller. So it's basically about fairness, integrity, honesty, and human dignity. These are habits that we all need, whether or not we are leaders. So, and also because we need to continuously improve in our leadership, so we need such habits. And also for us to be at peace with ourselves, but also with those around us, we need such habits, which I'm going to take you through very, very briefly. Now, habit number one is be proactive. So, this is personal. This is personal. If you're productive, I don't know if anyone has an idea when I say you're proactive, and the opposite is actually reactive. As you can see in my slides, proactive people complain, 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 and they focus on what they cannot control. For instance, COVID came. If I were reactive. If I were reactive, I would say, "Oh, but now with COVID, how am I going to um, there are too many problems now. I have to close down." So they don't look at positivity, they only look at negativity. Those are reactive people. They'll be like, but I'm going to lose even if I put in more money into my business during COVID, you know. But somebody proactive would maybe say, why is this virus? Maybe I need to take a vaccine. Maybe I need to test. Maybe I need to get a loan, stuff like that. They are positive. And if you are positive, then you're going to achieve milestones. Unlike when you are reactive, you fear to take risks, you also fear innovation, and you are very conservative. So that is habit number one. Now, habit number two is begin with the end in mind, right? So, there are again two key aspects here. There is what we call the mental creation, and there's also what we call the physical creation. To begin with an end in mind, it means we have to think. We need to have a vision, okay? We need to have a vision. So, for you to be able to succeed in any situation, first of all, it has to start with the mind. The mind has to be right. So you need to be in a in a in a good state of the mind, you know. Yeah. So what you think has to be positive, and then before you go to execute your ideas, you should have given it, thorough thought. So that is it, and then you can go to execution. That is habit number two. Habit number three: put first things first. We have used this phrase several times. First things first. So it's coming from this book by Richard Covey. So, first things first. So that means we have to prioritize, right? We have to plan. We have to rank what we have to do because we cannot do it all. We cannot do 10 things, right? So we need to choose which one is more important, which one has high risks, and then we come up with our priority list: one, two, three, up to 10. Then we begin executing them in that order. So that is habit number three: putting first things first. So In other words, okay. Yeah, in other words, habit number 3 summarizes habit number 1 and number 2, right? So number 1 starts with what is habit number 1? Being proactive, thinking positively. Then number 2 is putting your mind into serious thought, that is number 2. So number 1 is, first of all, having that mindset, having that good attitude. And number 2 now, putting your mind into into serious thinking. And number 3, what should be executed first. You see how they flow. Yeah, all of these are still personal. But now when we go to habit number 4, think win-win. Now this one has the external bit of it, right? It is not just you now. The first 3 we're dealing with just your internal kind of context. But now you're zooming out, you're also zooming in, right? So thinking win-win is a very good strategy when we are working in teams, but also when we're working in an organizational setting where there are people who are diverse in terms of skills, in terms of gender, in terms of geography. We just have to think that um, our relationship with people shouldn't only benefit us. So that's why I say the wrong perspective here is when we say, if you win, I lose. Or if I lose, you win. So that is the wrong one. But the correct one should be, we both should eat the pie. We both should share the food. We both should benefit. That is thinking win-win. If we have such habits, and we practice them, then we are most likely going to successfully work in our teams. Let's go to habit number 5. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. I think I hinted this a little bit in our previous session. So you need to understand first, and then you are understood. You understand? So, in other words, you should be more of an earpiece. Sorry about the wrong spelling of earpiece. An earpiece is what brings sound into your ears, like headsets. Yes. So you need to listen first before you speak, right? Than being a mouthpiece, just talking, yap, 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 and then you end up saying things that you shouldn't have said. So I'm not saying you shouldn't talk, you shouldn't listen, no. But before you speak anything out, you need to have listened first. This is a very crucial communication skill. We normally talk about speaking, writing, reading, but listening is very, very crucial. We need to be earpieces than mouthpieces, right? Because I gave the scenario last time that you're walking along the streets and then you find people are beating somebody, and without asking, you just join them in the beating. So that is not being an earpiece, right? You need to listen first. At the Kectil program, our founder, who is based in the US, has written some really interesting story on the Kectil website, where she said, actually, it's about her dad, late dad, where she says her father would always be the last to speak. He would, especially if they are discussing topics that he doesn't know. So he listens to what other people have to say, and then he internalizes everything, and then he can speak out with evidence. We don't just speak. In Uganda, we say "for." We don't just speak "for." Okay, so listen. Okay, seek to understand, then to be understood. So that is it. It is a very crucial habit if we are to succeed. Number 6, synergize. Synergy. So this means we work together. We value everyone on the team. We say 2 heads are better than 1. we say teamwork will make us succeed. We are also open-minded. We are open to innovation. We think outside of the box. We are creative, you know. So we work together creatively, and we use diversity as a tool to like reaching to excellence. But in most cases, people think that diversity is bad, and people don't tend to listen to other members of the team. They think they know it all and they're actually the best. But that is not the case, because all of us are talented, and in a team, you find people are very diverse in terms of their experiences, but also skills and in how they reason. So you need to listen and you need to give people the platform where they can contribute ideas and skills and knowledge for the good of the team. That is synergy. Very important. That is habit number 6. Yeah, are we still moving together? After this, I want to see if you have memorized anything. I'm going to mention the habit and then you'll tell me whether it is number 1, number 2, number 3, or number 7. There are only 7. Now, the last one. The last one is sharpen the saw. I like it. Can anybody just explain this slide for me? Just raise up your hand or simply unmute and speak. What do we mean when we say leaders or managers or individuals should sharpen their saw?
Okay, for me, what I think sharpen the saw would mean, just from the word itself, the saw is a tool. So if this is the tool that I'm going to use to become a great leader, then I have to make sure that it is in a good shape. So that means I need to understand myself. I need to understand what I need, what I require for me to be able to achieve what I want. And in case it needs any kind of improvements, any kind of changes here and there, I need to make them so that it is good enough or effective for me to achieve what I'm looking out for.
I think you've summarized it pretty much. So this is very interesting. There is no one who is perfect. So we are all um, imperfect. And as such, we have to be looking for avenues or rooms for improvement every day. There is no single leader, no single parent, no single manager, no single friend who is perfect. So we all have to sharpen our saws. So that is what it means. Thank you, Sise, for your input. So we have to enhance the greatest asset that we have, which is ourselves. So we want to make ourselves the best every day. Our body, our heart, our mind, and our spirit. Everything about us. So as you can see, it involves the spiritual bit of it. It even involves the mental bit of it. It also involves the physical bit of things. So physically, we have to be fit. Mentally, we have to be okay. And also in our heart, spiritually, we also need to have some qualities. We should be kind to others, stuff like that. So those are the 7 habits. So I'm going to repeat the habits. Habit number 7, sharpening the saw. Habit number 6, synergy. Habit number 5, who can tell me habit number 5? Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And number 4, think win-win. Okay, I'm going to categorize the habits into 2. There are those that are personal, that is habit 1 up to 3. And then there are those that involve working with external people. Those are habits 4 up to 7, right? So that's why number 4 is thinking win-win. And number 5 is, seek to understand, then to be understood. Never mind if you can't mimic. Never mind if you can't master or cram the sentences the way they are in the book. But just know these are crucial. Okay, habit number 3. First things first. Habit number 2. Begin with the end in mind. Habit number 1, be proactive. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a poll. Okay? I'm going to start a poll. I want you to write the answers. Write the answers. Write the habits in order. Starting. Anyone who is going to get it all, they'll get a prize from me. It's fair. So you have the poll question sent to your screen. We are 12 people in the house. Start polling. Start polling. Never mind if you don't get it all, but we are going to run through them once more and we call it a day. Thank you so much for the time. Check your screens. I've sent something to your screens. Habit number 1, habit number 2, habit number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Someone has already written. Good. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to pick people. Tabo, you've already written habit number 1. Stella, I want you to write habit number 2. And then ICT trainer, you're going to write habit number 3. Derek, habit number 4. Walter, habit number 5. Vivian, number 6. Jenny, number 7. Derek, you will summarize it all. Hey, no, not Derek. I think I'm going to summarize it all. Now, after you've finished, you'll tell me and I'll publish it. It will go to our chat. So, and I also want you to tell me whether this is useful in our daily lives, not just as leaders, but also as people who aspire to be effective in what we do, whether it is in family, at school, at work, at leisure. These habits cut across sectors, right? And they're uniform. We just have to have them. Let me check the polls. Number 7. Okay, I'm going to publish the results now because I want to stop at 10 minutes past 1. So it's only 4 minutes to time. So I'm sorry if you're still writing. I'm sorry, I'm going to publish the results now. So you can check in your chat and you'll see. So habit number 1, I think most people got it right. Number 1 is be proactive. Number 2 is, let us just go through again. Number 1 is be proactive. Number 2, begin with the end in mind. Number 3, put first things first. Number 4, think win-win. Number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Number 6, synergy. Number 7, sharpen the saw. Again, let's do it once more. Habit number 1, be proactive. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. Habit number 3, put first things first. Habit number 4, think win-win. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Number 6, synergy. Number 7, sharpening the saw. So you can actually practice this online. If you just Google 7 habits of highly effective people, you're going to get those. Very, very important to us as aspiring leaders, but also aspiring professionals and academics. Thank you for listening, guys. To me, I would say I will stop here. It's been a very long, but of course, very productive session with you. And we've come to the end of our leadership training. And those that will qualify for a certificate, they will get their certificates. And those that haven't gotten certificates from the previous trainings, please let us know
and we'll check in our records, and we'll make sure that you get your certificates. That is if you're a deserving participant. There is just participating, there is just coming and not qualifying for certificates. Yeah, thank you. Any questions? If not, I stop here. And Derek, you can close the call in 2 minutes. If there is any question, I'm very happy to take it up. And if there is none, then we will end here. Very important also, we'll be going to Chambogo University. I think 25th and 26th, we'll be holding a career workshop from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. So if you're at Chambogo, we would love to have you to be a part of us, but also everyone here is welcome. We're going to arrange transportation from Ntinda to Chambogo and back. And also on Women's Day, we have another event at MOOPS, where we've been invited as the Kectil Center in Uganda to be part of the celebration. There's a huge celebration at MOOPS. So in this, I would encourage the ladies, please come in your Kectil t-shirts and let's go to MOOPS. It starts at I think 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Yeah, these are the two announcements. We are always very happy to have you. And please, if you know a friend who may benefit from this kind of trainings free of charge, let them come our way. You know, yeah. And I really appreciate all of your sacrifice. Those that are taking the Kectil year-long program, I'm still with you guys, and yeah, let's roll. Leadership is never easy. It's full of sacrifices. It's full of perseverance, but we have to be resilient, right? Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye.